Hello, my name is Leif Gregerson, and this is my video blog. I just thought I'd check in with you guys, see how everything's going. I've led a busy week this past few days. Been doing a lot of teaching, been doing a lot of talking with my writing mentor, Richard Van Camp, and generally having a pretty good time about things. What I wanted to talk about, because it's something I've been going through a lot lately, is stress. Stress can come when you do too much, and stress can come when you do too little. It can come with not enough sleep, it can come with too much sleep, and there are different ways of coping with it. Some people have a difficulty dealing with stress, and they find they eat a lot, snack a lot to deal with it. I've had this problem definitely. I've been quite overweight, and I don't know if I necessarily changed it because of stress, but certainly a medication had an effect that I took, as many medications do, as many of you will know. Food is just not a great way to deal with stress. Cooking food, good food, like maybe chopping up peppers and onions and making a nice beef stir fry, something like that, or a chicken stir fry, and some rice would be a great way to deal with stress, especially have some friends around that you're looking to share a meal with. Companionship is always great to deal with stress. Sometimes you might find yourself, for example, in a grocery store, and you're in line and you feel that you're being crowded in and there's people all around you. Sometimes, and this doesn't always work, especially with big cities, but you could just sort of open up and talk to the person beside you, just talk about the weather, talk about, it used to be different in my day, and are you a university student, and you sort of make up conversation as you go, and before you know it, when you do regular activities like this, you get to know your checkout clerk. You get to know some of the people you shop with or go to the pool with. That's certainly something that happened in my case. Was I went to the pool and I kept going to the same pool over and over, and the exercise was a great way to deal with stress, but also just simply getting to know the people that were at the pool, talking to people in the hot tub or the steam room, and pretty soon I got to be friends with the lifeguard, and the lifeguard was training me on how to use my body better to swim, and it was just overall an enjoyable experience. So exercise is a great way to deal with stress, being around people, talking to people. I found that it doesn't help too much to try and just cover your head up and let stress roll right over you. Basically, if you're lying down and you're trying to sleep and you're feeling too upset, it can be really good at a time like that to get up and read for a while, and then you can relax a little more. Something I've noticed that works really well when it's getting to be 2-3 a.m. and I know I've got to get up early is I'll simply take a hot bath, and after I get out of the hot bath, I won't even towel off, I won't even put my pajamas back on. I'll just go lay under a comfortable blanket and just cool off or just dry off by letting the water evaporate, and it's a very comforting experience. Some of the things that happen in our lives that can cause us stress, of course, are work, but there are little things too. For example, if you're a smoker, that can, over time, that can increase the stress because you're constantly thinking about, where do I smoke my next cigarette? How long have I got to wait till my break or something like that? And cigarettes and coffee often go together because, certainly in my experience and in a lot of the people I knew, having a cigarette with a coffee was just something that went naturally. But what I found happening was, as I got older, there was more free time, and so there was more coffee and there was more cigarettes, and my use of these things just kept going up, and the coffee made my anxiety levels go through the roof, and the cigarettes were extremely damaging to my health, and so I quit. It wasn't an easy process to quit smoking. What happened was I was going to a clinic, and I was lucky enough to have the resources available there to see a counselor about addictions, who was very helpful. And also, I saw a psychiatrist who was specialized in addictions. So there was a counselor and a psychiatrist. And then I went to support groups. And then I was put on the gum, the patch, and I think at the time they hadn't used antidepressants a lot to help people quit smoking. I don't know how effective they are because I didn't use them. But if I hadn't used the gum and the patch and the counsel and the psychiatrist, I really don't think I would have quit smoking. I did quit by a plan. I decided at this date, that's going to be it. And the patches, I think, were probably the most helpful of all the things. But having the gum too, and one of the problems with the gum was that I had tried quitting smoking at a younger age with the gum, and it didn't work at all for me. Because what I didn't realize is you're supposed to put it in your mouth, chew it a couple of times, and then sort of park it, in between your lip and your gums, and just let it sit there for a while. And if you feel an urge coming again, sort of move it up and chew it a couple more times. And I didn't know this, and so it wasn't effective for me the first few times I tried it. But fortunately, the time came when it was effective. And now, I used to be a bit of a marathon runner. I ran 30 to 40 miles per week, every week. And I loved it. It was fantastic. But what I didn't know was I wasn't running on the proper surface. I wasn't using the proper shoes. I was using it to get rid of stress. I was using it to get rid of maybe some of my mania, different things like that, and level myself off. And I would push myself harder and harder each time, which is good. If you're going to get into a competition or something, it's great, But the fact is I injured my knees badly. And when I quit smoking, one of the first things that I thought about was, getting back that wonderful cardio feeling, of just exhausting yourself, of going over long distances. Swimming was one of the things at first that was all I could do because my knees were that bad. And then after that, basically I started walking, and I would push myself a little further. I would start just by walking to the pool, doing some swimming, and sometimes if I had the time and the energy, I would lift some weights, and it felt great. And I had a job at the time that was very physical. But it got to me, the physical aspect of the job and expending so much energy every day that I had no energy when I was at home. And so I found myself a job teaching creative writing, which was great. It was sort of a progression. I look back in my life, and I look back to about 20 years ago when I was in the hospital for a long time, right around the time of the 9/11 incident in 2001. And basically I'd gotten out of the hospital, and I went through a process of quitting smoking. I quit coffee too. Coffee was causing problems. And so I switched to tea, and I quit smoking, and I started swimming, and then I started walking to the swimming pool. And so I was really fit, and I had a great job. But the job was too physical for me. I had been injured a couple of times. I had difficulties working with some of the people I knew. A lot of office politics and stuff like that. And over time, I kept pushing myself to learn more, and I took courses in writing. And of course, I wrote a lot, I read a lot, I published books. And boom, I've got some wonderful part-time jobs now that help meet my expenses and fulfill me, although they do involve quite a bit of stress. Just basically, I would say probably one of the biggest things with stress is try and schedule yourself so that you don't have to deal with stress. If you work part-time. If you don't work, it's good to get out and volunteer a few hours a day, 2-3 hours a day. And I'm sure your time would be appreciated by just about any organization out there. I used to volunteer at a veterans center, and it was great. I really enjoyed the old men. I really enjoyed working with seniors and taking them for walks and helping with Bible studies. And it was just limited to what I could handle. And you just keep working your way up. And so with that, that's about 10 minutes. So I think I'm going to shut it down there. We're getting close to Christmas. It's 2019. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but if you watch it soon, I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, and thanks for tuning in.